Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever it is for you. I'm Cyclone. You're watching Let's Play Train Simulator. We are back on the London to Brighton route here. As you can see, still in the Class 377 EMU Southern. And we are looking at the next career scenario called Capital Commuter. Now you can notice this is Capital Commuter CS. This is the career version of the scenario. I've already loaded up on the standard tab over here, the regular version as well, so you can see it's the same scenario. And you can notice the difficulty is different as well. It's 2 difficulty over here. But over here on the career tab, it is 3 difficulty. I'm going to go ahead and load up the scenario. We're going to get a quick look at the tasks that we have to do before we get started, and then I'll review the timings for the scenario. Now, something I noticed with the burst pipe scenario, you'll notice that the points that you're able to obtain are not necessarily going to be 1,000 points. So I'm doing this blind. I have not seen the Capital Commuter scenario at all. I've not looked up the XML file or anything like that for any of the other scenarios, or even for burst pipes, which I'm told does have a limit of 960, and my friends seem to show that as well on all 3 of them. So yeah, I'm going to go into Capital Commuter. We're going to take a look at the task here. And as we play the scenario, we're going to find out what the scenario is worth in terms of points. So we'll figure that out as we go along. Let's go ahead and get into Capital Commuter, and I'll see you at the scenario. Okay, as you can see, I am looking at the scenario start screen right now. This is actually the scenario start screen, so we'll come back to this. We'll actually start when we get in the cab, but right now let's take a quick look around at the mini-map and find out what we have to do. We are at Brighton Station. We are at the southbound terminus here, so you can see all the different points here, Brighton P2, Brighton P3, and so on and so forth. Our first task is to pick up passengers from Brighton P4. Obviously, we got credit for the first one, stop at Brighton P4. I mean, we're starting there. We are starting to stop position. So the reason that is there is to trigger you getting the passengers on board the train. You start in a standing position, and after you wait for a moment, you are able to open the train doors and let passengers on. So that's why you start in a stop position. And the previous scenario, we did the exact same thing, but at London Victoria instead. So we're going to pick up the passengers here. After we do that, we're going to move up to Hassocks P1. Now let's zoom out to see how far down the track this is, because this is a little bit down the way here. So you can see the track coming out of Brighton, and it goes up to a train here, but we're probably going to go past that train. Yeah, we're going all the way up here to Hassocks. So that is our stop up there. That green mark is our stop. That is where we stop first. We're going to continue on. I believe the next green mark might be our next stop, Burgess Hill. Yep, it is. Right after that, we have this station, which is not the next stop for us. So we're going to start from Burgess Hill. We're going to get to Hayward's Heath, which is much further up. It's the second station from where we are, going into platform 3. 3 Bridges is where the path turns off to the left. So we're going to go up all this way. And 3 Bridges is right there, that green spot right before the turn to the west. And there it is right there. Moving further up, Gatwick is not actually far beyond that. In fact, Gatwick is right where that 377415 and 427 is located. So we're going to zoom in on Gatwick Airport. There we go. And these trains are not moving. These are trains that will move as you're going in the scenario. They basically sit there until it's time for them to go into action to show as AI traffic. So they're literally just sitting there for a while before they move. We're going to move up to East Croydon from here. This is a far way up from where we are. We're actually going to get up to about this area, I believe. Nope, actually a lot further. East Croydon's all the way up there. So from Gatwick, we're going all the way up here. This, if you consider Gatwick is at the bottom of my screen where the show task is located, East Croydon is at the top of the screen, right under that yellow cut that I'm now pulling into view. So that's where East Croydon is, once again. So there we go. We're going to go from East Croydon. We're going to move to Clapham Junction, which is all the way over here in the corner. That big corner at the top. So once again, you're seeing the entire path that I have to follow to get to Clapham Junction on my screen. I'm not stopping at any of these stations along the way here. So I'm going to go straight to Clapham Junction, platform 12, which is located right there. You can see platform 12 on the screen here. So we're going to be entering Clapham Junction on one of these 4 side tracks here, it looks like. I don't think you can merge over from the other tracks. So I think you have to do it from the side tracks. We're going to see again as we play the scenario. It's the 4th track in here, and sure enough, it is one of those tracks. So we're going to be getting onto these side tracks at some point. And actually, yeah, we can't because the other ones come from the Wimbledon area, so we can't do that. That portal does go towards Wimbledon. You can see that now. I didn't note that when I was doing the quick drive because I didn't properly note that. My apologies. So once we're done at Clapham Junction, we're just going to move right up to London Victoria. That's our last stop. We have to open the doors to pick up passengers, but that is the end of the route. We're basically following a similar route to our quick drive, and that's all we're doing here. So similar route to the quick drive. I could have actually done this as our quick drive scenario actually and had a little fun with it. But we're going to go ahead and do all these tasks now because it's easier for me to talk about the history of the line when I'm not trying to pick up passengers. So let's go to the main screen again. I'm going to bring up the F1 HUD. We have to, I'm going to move my thing from the bottom of the screen because that's not going to help me right now. You can see that I'm up. You can see that I'm paused at 6:20, so obviously I'm going to be late now. But let's go to 6:16 p.m. is when we do the pickup, so we're starting at 6:16 p.m. Or is that a.m.? a.m., p.m. Who's keeping track? I'm going to assume it's morning. So we're going to assume this is a morning scenario, but could be evening. We're going to get to Hassocks by 6:25, platform 1. Burgess, so we have to be there at 6:29. 6:34 is our pickup of passengers from Hayward's Heath. 6:43 we go to Three Bridges. We have to be there at 6:43. 6:48 is our trip to Gatwick Airport, which is 5 minutes up the road, obviously, and that's where the British Rail logo is on the roof there. I forgot the name. I hate when I have those blonde moments. British Rail. That logo's on the roof there. East Croydon, again, is far away, 13 minutes away at 7:01. We leave at 7:02. And actually, I'm noting the times wrong. The times I've been quoting, 6:28, 6:29, 6:33, 6:34. We depart a minute later in each case. So we have time to pick up passengers. So then we get to Clapham Junction, 7:11. 7:12 is when we leave. Pick up passengers from London Victoria, 7:17 to 7:18. That is literally a 1 hour and 2 minute scenario time frame completion estimate, which we're going to find out if I can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and reset back out of the scenario. We're going to get to the start of the time, and we're going to start doing that. Let's have some fun. I'll see you in the cab. Good morning, driver. Today you will be running a semi-fast service from Brighton, London, Victoria. You will be making several stops along the way. Make sure you don't miss any of them. Not a problem. I'm more likely to miss the speed limit than a stop. Once our so-called stop here is complete. So if you're wondering what that red bar was at the bottom right away, and as you can see, we can't open the front cab, so hopefully no one's coming on that cab. If you're wondering what that red bar was at the bottom, that was our first stop. There you go. We're going to depart here in about 1 minute. Actually, we're going to be departing slightly late because of the way the scenario is set up, but what can you do? So let's go ahead and zip up and I will get a view of the train leaving the station. There we go. So I'm now ready to depart for Hassocks. I will give you a look. Oops. Let me make sure these controls are set properly. There we go. And let's leave. So we're having a slow increase. There's no reason to punch the speed up because we have a 40 coming up. And we're going to have to stop at 25 before we get to 40 anyway. Because I gave you that view, obviously I wasn't paying attention to my speed. I would have pumped up a little bit more if I was. So I'm now going to go ahead and increase my speed. We're on level ground still, but we should be able to get up to 40 at this point. Oops, slow down. That was a little quicker than I wanted. We'll take it though. And I should get to 75 just in time for my speed to be able to be increased. Actually, I'm already past 75, just not at the back of the train. Now it is. So we're going to go ahead and bump the speed up. Now, I have been practicing my stopping. I've done a couple runs of this already, just not complete runs, but finding things that were not perfect. I'm gonna try to give proper stops throughout the scenario at this point. Now, with the exception of the train being at Brighton and that front cab not being able to open at Brighton, we should be able to try to get all cabs to open at each stop. There may be the odd one that might be too small that we can't. And our service people will explain that to our customers, not our business. So we're passing Preston Park right now. And somewhere out of Preston Park, we're going to come upon the Patcham Tunnel. There's one of the many roads that go over the network. By the way, get used to hearing that ding. Every time we pass an AWS ramp, we're going to get that ding. So you'll be able to see one of the AWS ramps coming up very shortly because there is a signal coming up. Say hello to our fellow train using our horn, give you a chance to hear that. So you can see one of those AWS ramps coming up. I think, well, we just passed over. I didn't even see it. But they are on the track ahead of us. And we're going to be in a tunnel, so you're not going to see this next one, unfortunately. I'm not going to bother with the headlights in these tunnels. I know that we're going in the right place here. After the Patcham Tunnel, we're going to go to 90 miles per hour. We are now on a 1.264 gradient, so I'm going to bump the speed up slightly just to stay in the 75 area. Then I'm going to ease it back off. So I'm feathering the throttle around the 39% marker right now, between 20 and 39. That will allow us to stay in the 75 area. Now you can use the speed set and you're able to go ahead and have the train control the speed for you. At this point we would have it set and the train would be maintaining 70, or 75. We would then tell the train to increase speed to 90 miles per hour. I am not using speed set on this scenario. I will try to do it on a future scenario in this pack so you can see how that works. But given that we have numerous stops in this scenario, there's no reason for me to use the speed set in this scenario. So I'm going to go ahead and just drive the train normally. And that's what we're going to do. And if you're wondering why the reason is the speed set is not ideal for this scenario, every time that you want to come to a stop, you have to actually lower the speed set to 0 before you're able to actually come to a stop. So you have to do an extra control to lower the speed set, and at that point you might as well just, you know, mess with it a little bit. Probably not the best wording of that, but I think you get the idea. It's a pain having to deal with it. Like, it's not as easy as cruise control in the car. You tap the brakes and it turns off. You actually have to remove the setting and then you can hit the brakes. So we're coming up on the 90. We are in the Clayton Tunnel right now. This is where the first downhill portion of the route begins. And I'm going to just keep it here at 39 right now because we're losing speed imperceptibly at a low enough rate that it's not worth increasing it back, especially because we have Hassocks up ahead, and that is our stop. I'm just going to bring up the task list again. We're 1.5 miles away from Hassocks. That's, as you see, it's around 1.75 miles that it appears on the mini-map at this speed. So we're going to be getting ready to come to a stop very, very soon. You can see that we're 1.2 out. And based on the time of arrival, 6:24, we do have a full minute. I will go ahead and lower the speed and to take the throttle off and lower the speed just a little bit, but we're not going to do too much of a stop yet. I want to maintain my speed at a reasonable number coming into Hassocks. Now I'll increase the brake application a little bit to slow down a little more, but I am going to be taking the brakes off because otherwise we'll stop before Hassocks. This is just a speed maintenance thing rather than coming to a stop. So I'm going to put the throttle back, or take the brakes back off rather. There's no reason to put any more throttle application at this point because we are coming to a stop up here. We are 0.2 of a mile away. And at 50, I'll go ahead and put the brakes back on now, 0.2 of a mile away. And I'll apply them further again once we are in the platform. So I'll apply them further now. At 80%. I will now release them back to 60. And I'm going to actually coast now that I'm at 12 miles per hour because I want to come to that 12 car stop sign up ahead. Right there. In fact, I'll move up just a little bit here. That should do. So if you look out here, that's exactly where you want to stop. I'm at the 12 car stop sign almost perfectly. Cars are all able to open. Back of the train. I'm on the wrong side, but back of the train, cars are open. So that's exactly what we want to see with this 12 car train. You want to be able to open all these doors. I'm going to go back into the cab. I'm going to wait for permission to leave. There we are, timeliness bonus. Wait for the doors to close. I'm going to start increasing a little slowly here. And now I'll move to 100% throttle. Now, if we were to have wet and rainy conditions, you might get some wheel slip going into 100% right away, so you want to increase slowly at that point and then move the brake up to 100%. Or I mean, the throttle up to 100%. You may also get wheel slip in the rain if you're trying to come to a stop, so you can't really... You have to give yourself a lot more time to stop in inclement weather. Which makes sense. Makes perfect sense if you think about it. So Burgess Hill is not too far away. In fact, I don't even think I'm going to have to worry about getting up to line speed here. Because our stop is at 6:28. We leave there at 6:29. We have 2 minutes. So I'll get myself up to maybe about 70 before I decide to stop increasing speed. And then I'll start lowering the speed. In fact, I have the time. I might as well just cut the throttle off right now. I have time. Never, as long as you're driving in good, perfect conditions, you don't have to. You can give yourself a lot of time to stop. You don't have to just cruise in like an expert because you might actually overshoot it and stop behind the platform. So, and you could, if you go way too far, you miss the stop completely. And then you have some unhappy customers because there's no way for them to get off the train. Being in the middle of the train is usually a good idea. So as you can see, I'm not applying any throttle right now. I'm just letting the trains come to a stop very nice and casually at this point. I'm going to apply the brakes as we get a little closer here. This seems like a good spot to do it. And once I hit the station, I'll put on a level 2 brake application. And then I'll coast when we get far enough along the platform. Here we go. Now we want to go beyond the stairway on this platform. The stop sign, there's only one stop sign, it's beyond the stairway. The platform does extend there, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop now. Oh, that was actually perfect. I like that. I thought I might overshoot that one, but that worked out very nicely. And as you can see, well, the back cabs for some reason still are not opening. I don't know why they're not opening, because they should be opening. That is bizarre. Okay, back to the front. Well, I don't know why some of them are not opening. That is extremely bizarre on this particular place. Maybe only the front cabs allow you off at Burgess. Because back here, the doors are obviously not opening. Something wrong with this door. Something's wrong with that door. That is a lot of doors that are not opening. If anyone has any idea why that's the case and why those doors are not opening, please post in the comments, because I don't know what's going on with that. And if you are coming to this video after such a comment has been posted, check the comments and you may find a comment down there answering that question. Really not sure why that happens. Probably just a bug in the game. Maybe they're all supposed to open normally. So we're going to go ahead and get up to 100%. I probably shouldn't have gone up to 100 right away, but in these conditions we're fine. So our next stop, as you can see, is Hayward's Heath. 3.5 miles away. So by the time that second signal comes across, Hayward's Heath on the screen up ahead. Actually, no, we're not going fast enough for that to be the case. So by the time that signal comes across, we should actually be up at a bigger grid at that point. And then we'll have about half a mile before it shows up, I think. By the time that signal at the end comes across, we should see Hayward's Heath. Because I know Hayward's Heath is fairly close, and I know our stop time is only at 6:33, we should not have to worry too much about getting up to line speed on this one. Because as you can see, we have a full 3 minutes to make the stop. We don't leave Hayward's Heath until 4 minutes from now. The station we are passing, by the way, at this point, that is Wivelsfield. You can also come from Plumpton on the line that comes into the track from the east, which is our right. And that will also join at Wivelsfield on this line. Plumpton, of course, you can go beyond that in real life. There's a whistle sign, so I'll do it. In real life, you can go beyond Plumpton to another station along that route, a bunch of stations along that route. You can actually merge with another track and come down to Eastbourne, which is a line terminus. There's an eastbound-westbound line in front of Brighton. In fact, you saw a couple turn-offs when we left Brighton Station. That's the line that they turn on to, and Eastbourne is a terminus south of that line, just like Brighton is. So Plumpton does continue to Eastbourne. This is something I mentioned in my initial route playing video, where I just ran straight through. And sped a little bit because there was no points at hand. I didn't care. So yeah, that's something I did talk about in that video, and yeah, doesn't hurt to reiterate some of these facts as you go. So we're coming up on Hayward's Heath. I will try to get you a nice shot of the Ouse Viaduct as we go along here. I may actually have to cut ahead for that at some point. Right now I'm going to go ahead and do an initial slowdown because I got lots of time to slow down. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the speed down right now a little early. There we go, 75. We're slowing down nicely at this point. If I find I'm slowing down too much, I will go ahead and release the brakes and cruise in the station a little more. But right now we would still be coming in the station too fast. So I'm going to go ahead and just decrease speed a little more before we get up to that point. If I get down to 40 before we reach the green, which looks like it's going to be the case, then I will have to release the brakes. In fact, I'll go ahead and I'll release them now. Because I will get down to 40 otherwise, I know that. So I'm going to go ahead and coast at this point. Coming through another of the many tunnels here. For those wondering, by the way, I don't have a name for that tunnel. So now I'm going to go ahead and start applying the brakes a little more gradually. Now I'm going to do a level 2 brake application because we're on the platform. We're coming to the end of the platform nicely. I'll ease off the brakes just a little bit so we don't slow down as much. That'll allow me to coast a little bit further on the platform. In fact, we'll take the brakes off completely at this point. 8, 6, and 4 car stops. Our 12 car stop should be a little further ahead. And that, I believe, is it right there. I think that is the sign I'm looking for. Actually, no, 12 car stop's actually up there. So I'll punch it up a little bit. There we go. And that should do the job. Oops. Well, I didn't mean to do that. So doors should be open now. Except apparently, even though I'm not even at the 12 car stop sign, the front cab is not opening. So yeah, the game's not going to be perfect with this. It is a little bit buggy. Even the, notice the back ones aren't opening either. I'm on the platform, but since the car itself is right off the platform, I guess it's not working. So 12 car trains are apparently bugged in this game. We're going to have to accept that. But if you have a 10 car train, you should be able to stop at that platform comfortably. These are long trains in Britain. Or long platforms. So we're never going to see every door open along this path, unfortunately, because the train is just not allowing it to happen. So the Ouse Viaduct is coming up on this portion. I'm not going to get up to complete line speed immediately. I'm going to ease off the speed limit so I can give you a shot of the viaduct without actually putting myself over. And speaking of our next stop, that's at Three Bridges. That is 8 minutes away from us. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the speed as we come up to the Ouse Viaduct, so I can give you a good picture of the train going across it, because I feel that deserves to be shown. Alright, I think it's coming up now, so I'm going to ease the speed off. I will jump ahead and show you. It was a little further away than I thought it was, so we're kind of cut ahead a minute or two in time here, I think. A minute or so. I'm going to go ahead and pump the speed back up to 90 now. So yeah, that's... We have lots of time to make the stop at Three Bridges, so I'm not too worried about losing a little bit of time there. We have 6:42 for the stop. Gatwick Airport, after we leave at 6:43, we're going to get to Gatwick at 6:47. And if I don't mess up the stop at Gatwick, I'll try to show you the... I'll try to get you a view from the roof as we leave. So I'm going to take the throttle off now that we're about 90. This station we are not stopping at. This is not Three Bridges. I came dangerously close to the speed limit there. That would not have been good. That would have been points lost. And I don't think you're getting any extra bonus points like at Sherman Hill. By the way, that was Balcombe Station we were passing, for those who want to know. We were passing Balcombe Station there. There was a route turnoff that happened towards one of the freight spot, what I believe is a freight spot along the route. We're not going in that direction. That actually seems to be a dead end for the line at that freight spot. And there are freight scenarios that you can do on this route. For example, you would stop at the Preston Park sidings instead of the actual Preston Park platform when you make such a delivery. Or other platforms, possibly at Crawford Junction as well. You might have similar deliveries. Oh, 80 coming up. Let's cut the speed quickly. Just in time. I almost missed that, so I got lucky on that one. In the tunnel, it's easy to lose track of what you're doing, and it's easy to lose the ability to pay attention because you're in the dark and it's like, oh, there's nothing really going on. And then all of a sudden, it comes up on you. So I was extremely fortunate there. There's another major road going over the railroad track. You see a lot of those in the UK, I believe. Really nice looking bridges that just go over the railroad tracks. You don't... Like, doing a bridge like that, you have to admire the engineering work involved in putting together such a high structure, so high off the ground. Some of these kinds of things, Selda Carlisle, I know, is famous for these, where they lost a lot of workers during the construction of the line. I think it took like 4 years. We'll talk about that when we actually do that line, but right now we're going to stay where we are. So there's not really much point to increasing speed because we got a full 2 minutes to make the stop. In fact, I'm going to slow my speed down immediately. Because 60 will be plenty at this point. Our gradient is changing, as you can see in the corner here. We're coming down to a flat gradient now. And since I have all the extra time, I'm gonna just drop it to 50. You don't get bonus points for being early. You get bonus points for being on time. And unfortunately, we don't lose points for being early. That'd be very bad. So coasting in around 47, that's a good spot to coast in. And then we'll apply the brakes as we go along the platform. Now, if we were early, we would have to coast in a little faster and come to a bit more of a risky stop, but we're not going to risk this. Now, there is a line coming in from Crawley to the left here. You should be able to see that as our train comes up to the station. In fact, I'll hop out of the cab for a moment to show you. That is somewhere in that direction. There's some buffers there, but I believe that's where it goes. Right there is the track coming in. And now the station. So I'm at 30. I'm going to just coast along at 30 with a level 1 application. Now I'll put the level 2 on. I'm going to take it back off because that was the 4-car stop that we just saw. 6-car stop. I'm going to take the brakes off because we're not far enough. 8 seems to be a good cruising speed here. And around the end of the platform, there's our 10-car stop. And I'm not going to go looking for a 12-car stop because I don't want to get penalized for passing the station. 12-car stop is probably further ahead. Let's take a look, actually. Nope, there's no sign for 12-car stop. That's a promising thing right there. Beautiful. Ten-car stop as far as you can go. So I guess the back cars don't... Oh, the back cars are on the platform. I think that's supposed to be a 12-car stop, actually, because look how much we have here. Those doors just don't want to open because, once again, the front of the cab is before the platform, so it doesn't want to open that. It's not safe, apparently. Ah, the game is bugged. This game is bugged beyond repair. We know that one platform is not long enough. We know that. So I'm going to wait for indication that we can proceed. We should be able to do that in about 5 seconds. There we go. And out we go. So our next stop is 4 minutes away in Gatwick Airport Terminal. Gatwick Station. I believe that was also Platform 4. Yeah, Gatwick Airport Platform 4, yes. Notice I said Gatwick Platform Station, like the... Let me try that again. Gatwick Platform Terminal, not Terminus. It is not the Terminus. We do continue beyond this particular terminal. And again, if we happen to be super early, I will slow down early again because 4 minutes is a lot of time for this particular stop. So there's a very good chance we're going to be early on this particular stop. In fact, knowing that, I'm not going to go all the way up to 90. I'm going to actually go ahead and limit myself to 80 on this part of the route. Even though there are no 80 signs here as far as I know, I'm going to limit myself to 80. Yeah, there's a station up ahead. So there's no reason... We're not going to get up to 90. There's no reason to get up to 90. By the time you get to 90, you're going to have to screech on those brakes. Even on this downhill, we're not going to get to 90. So since we're on a downhill, yes, I am going to ease off the gas right now. Because again, we have 3 minutes to make this stop. So I'm just going to put a little bit of a brake application now so I can just coast in. $65 is fine for now. There's an airplane. That's going to Gatwick Airport. Oh, I love that. I'm glad that showed up. Because I was going to talk about you might see an airplane here once in a while. You just saw an airplane. That's beautiful. If I had to slow down, I wouldn't have had a chance to see that because it would have been going over my train. Fantastic. Okay, I'm down to 45 now. It's going to be good for slowing into the station here. As I reach the platform, I'll go back on the brakes. In fact, this is good enough. And a little ways in, we're going to do a level 2 brake application now. And I'm going to put a level 3 now. Because I'm coming a little faster than I expected I was. Now I'm going to go ahead and coast. I'm going to just go ahead and stop before the end of the platform this time. So hopefully the doors on this cab open. This should do. Did this one open? Let's find out. Yes, they did. And did 3 back in? No, we're not going to get the whole train on. So yeah, these 12-car trains are just a little bit too big, unfortunately. In fact, I could have gone up a little bit more and I might have... No, it wouldn't have been far enough. It wouldn't have been far enough to open. So you're getting to see... Now that you're seeing how I'm playing it, this is actually a good service for you guys, because now you get to see what not to do. Let's go ahead and hop up to the roof and take a look at the train leaving. So here we are, coming out of the station at 90 miles per hour. Now you might notice that AWS ramp. Those are the ramps that are causing the dings here. Now this looks like a station, but it's not a station that we're going to be stopping at. This is, from what I can see here, this is the Horley station. The next station coming up will be Salford Station, but as you can see, we're going all the way to East Croydon. So this is the point. I actually probably should have saved back at the previous station, but I'm going to take the opportunity to do so at East Croydon because we've got a few speed limits to contend with, and then if I screw up, I'll just cut it in. I know there is an 80 along this part of the journey, so I'm going to go ahead and watch the speed limits on this one because I do have to cut it down. I know we're going to have to get down to 30 for going through the East Croydon station anyway. Or that may be South Croydon. One of the Croydons has a 30 limit, then it goes back up to 60 again. And eventually 70 as you go towards London Bridge, where you end up coming in at about 20 or 25. So I'm going to cut the speed off here. There's no point to really increase too much more speed. I'm just going to throttle the speed at this point so we don't risk going over. Again, we should have plenty of time. As you can see on our task here, we don't have to arrive till 7:01. And that's 14 miles away. And I'll just show you the mini-map again as to what we're traveling right now. I'll center on us. There's where we are. So based on where we are right now, we have to go all the way up here. We're going to pass some lines along the way. So I'm not sure if Salford's is on our line or if it's on the other line. Taking a look at my zoomed in map here, I think it is on both lines. I believe Earlswood is on the left line and not on the right line. I was trying to, maybe they are both on this line. Maybe they are both on this line. Once the line from Nutfield and comes in ahead, Nutfield will actually join on a line on the left of us. And that one will go by the Red Hill station. We can also merge into the Red Hill station, but we might not actually take that path, because we might be routed on the line to the right. We're going to find out when we get up there. So we may not pass through Red Hill Station. If that is the case, then we will also not see the Merstham station ahead. There's actually a lot of stations ahead here, so I'm going to try to keep tabs of this for you. There's that 80 I was expecting and fearing, so I'm going to just cut the gas off. And the speed should ease down gently. I should be able to get down to 80 before reaching that signal. There's the warning sign. And I'm now crossing right now into the point where I'm safe. So I'm going to go ahead and maintain speed at 80. 90 is right after this, so I'm going to go ahead and maintain as we come through this little portion here. This is a platform, by the way. I believe that is the previously mentioned Salford station. There's the 80. And actually, you know what? I might have that wrong. That was Earlswood. That was the Earlswood station, because we're now taking the path to the right. I'm speeding. That is bad. We're now taking the path to the right. I thought I was going to get up there in time. Well, 6 points lost. I'm going to have to live with it. So we're going to be taking the path on this line, and we're going to be skipping Red Hill Station. Nutfield just came in here. This is one of our many tunnels. I don't have the name for this on hand. Now we can go up to 90. Now, of course, we can go to 90. Thank you, game. Yeah, I should have saved the previous station. I would have been able to cut that in. So I'm not going to have a perfect run now. I'm just going to go ahead and live with it. We're kind of having an uphill-downhill weaving situation here right now. We're on an uphill right now. We're going to move into a downhill. Then we're going to go right back uphill again. Take a look outside. Nice little neighborhood. So while I'm maintaining speed, let's take a quick look at what's up ahead of us here on the mini-map. This is our line. And the next station on our line is not until... This is again the express line, so we're missing all these stations. The next station is literally not going to be until East Croydon, I think. Purley is going to be the next station we see. Purley will be the next one we see. So we missed Merstham Station as well. We're going to be missing Colston South. That's on the line to the right. And the line from Chipstead, which goes a couple further beyond that, is going to come past Woodmansterne, Colston Town, and then after Colston Town is going to join our line. That line, there's also a branch off to the Reedham Station. We might actually see the Reedham Station. I might have missed that. But it looks like Purley is going to be the next station we see, and all the lines do merge back into one line. So we will then see Purley Oaks as well. We'll then see South Croydon, and after that we come to East Croydon. But we don't have to stop at these several stations. So we're not going to have any panic when we see a green mark on the map, because none of them are our stops for a few. Once we see South Croydon, that's the one we have to stop. Or I mean East Croydon, that's the one we're going to have to stop for. We have a lot of speed limit changes before then. So we're going to be getting our speed limit down nicely for East Croydon. Right now I'm on this downhill. 39% throttle is applying a little amount of speed to my number, so I don't really want to do too much of that. But I can do 39 to keep a slow increase and then drop it off slightly as we go. So this should be okay. So far I've only lost 6 points for that one rogue speeding that shouldn't have happened, because I should have been out of the 90 by then. Should have been the 90 by then. But, oh well. And to be fair, I was looking up information for you as well. So that's the thing. If you're going to be looking at up information and talking to people, you're going to do worse anyway. So this probably would have been a perfect score if I was paying attention. As long as I catch the major speed limits. In fact, I actually don't even care about keeping it right at 90 because this is a very, very long part of our journey here. And I know I'm going to have to slow down for the station anyway. I'm just going to go ahead and maintain a nice casual speed here. .88 should be good. When I see that speed limit up ahead, though, it's going to probably be a 60. I'm going to have to hit the brakes for that 60 very, very quickly. I can't just coast into that one. I might actually have to use the brakes. So yeah, our stop is supposed to be 4 minutes. Ooh, this might be a little, let's take a quick look at the map here. There I am. And the goal is all the way up there. Pretty sure if this was not doable, they wouldn't give it to us. 3 miles away. Yeah, this is doable. So that is a distance signal. I haven't really talked about those distance signals, but notice that it was diagonal. That means that this aspect is a green. If that was a straight line, that would mean that that signal was red. And I think a distance signal can also indicate a yellow by being diagonal as well. Just in case of proceed aspect. So yeah, I was right. That is a 60 up ahead. I put on a level 1 brake application so I can start slowing down for that in time. That way I don't overshoot it. We're going to have a 45 coming up after that, and then a 30, and then our stop will be in that 30 area. So we're not going to have any very, very fast stop trying to bring the train from a fast sprint into a slow stop at that point. I might have actually dropped a little too quickly. I'm going to put a little bit of throttle back on for a moment. I believe this is the Purley station right now that we're passing through. Thank you. Maintaining a 20% throttle right now. So yeah, I guess keeping it at 60 is a good idea because of the beeping AWS. If we fail to respond to that, then the emergency brakes go on. So you can see the 45 and the 30 right now. East Croydon is protected by that 30, and right out of East Croydon you have a 45. So yeah, our speed is going to be dropping significantly now. We have to be there in 2 minutes, and we leave in 3. So I'm going to maintain speed going into the 60 sign. Once the 60 disappears, I'm going to start preparing for the 45. And by maintain, I mean I'm not going to apply any throttle or brakes. So if it drops naturally like it is now, that's fine. I'll have time to drop for the 45. I believe this was Purley Oaks. Or maybe this is South Croydon. This is South Croydon. The other one was Purley Oaks. So now I'll start preparing to slow down a little bit. AWS ramp is going to tell me I have to respond at this point because I'm over the new speed limit. Nope, actually it gave me a ding. It must have sensed I was already responding and therefore it's not going to alert me. Now in the so-called free roam, you actually get stopped at this particular spot. You can't go along here. There, so I've dropped a little bit just to give myself a little bit of a safety at this point. And we have a 30 coming up anyway, so we're going to have to drop it again as soon as we hit this area anyway. In fact, the map has zoomed in. You can see from 45 down to 30, right back up to 60. So we're going to get down to 30 now. And I'll slow down a little bit more, just again to give myself a little leeway, plus we have to stop anyway. So this is perfectly fine to do it this way. You can hear the passengers being alerted that we have a stop here. And it's harder to see out this particular side. I don't think you can really change cabs here, unfortunately. But you can change your view. Change sides, I mean to say. So I'm going to coast now because I want to get towards the end of the platform. Let as many passengers off this train as possible who want to leave. And I will slow down again now. Okay, a little further. There's our 12-car stop sign, so I will do it now. I have a little more space, I think. I'm literally just on time. I did not give myself enough time for this, it looks like. And once again, the... oh, that's this side. But the doors didn't open anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, you're not going to get everything in. So I might lose some points on this one because I didn't come in optimally. This one doesn't really give you enough time, and I was afraid that might be the case. So I'm going to actually lose a little bit of time towards my next goal now, which is going to be up at Clapham Junction. But I got the full points. I'm okay. So let's review the Clapham Junction. 7:11. 7:17 will be London Victoria arrival time. And I love how it says depart at 7:18, as if we actually are going anywhere from London Victoria. We're not. It's just going to finish the stop. It'll give us the stop sign, the stop hand going across, and then the scenario is over. I'm speeding. I knew that was going to happen. I jumped up a little too quickly there, unfortunately. We should have eased out of there. That's my fault. That's completely my fault. Now we can start easing up. Mistake aside, this is still a pretty successful drive, so I'm not too upset with this. We should still get our gold star out of this, as long as I don't make any major mistakes. And we can go up to 60 now, and as you can see, there's a 70 up ahead, so I'm going to go ahead and just bump it up as quick as I can to 60, and then we'll be ready to go to the 70. Kelly's off the throttle now because we're getting up there. Oh, I need to cut it off completely now. And I'm actually increasing speed on this 1.5. The gradient is changing on me, but now we're flat ground. I'm gaining speed. This is not a stop. This, I believe, is Selhurst. And it has to be Selhurst because we can't go to Norwood Junction. We wouldn't be able to continue if we did that. So this is definitely Selhurst. Thornton Heath will follow this, and we're now entering a 70. There's another one of our ramps. Ding, ding, ding. And I think I've confirmed now this is a morning scenario, not a evening scenario with the sun setting, because it might have been a little darker by now if the sun was setting. Nice little house there, actually. And yep, there's Thornton Heath. Next will be Norbury. Norbury will be our next station. But again, not a stop. Just a place we see along the way. We're actually going to see several more stations. We have Norbury, then Streatham Common. This is where the track can exit over to Streatham, which for us is a terminus, but it also goes onto the South London network, which we'll explore at a later time. Not today, because it's not part of this route. It is its own route. There is also a merged route. I may take an opportunity to drive along the merged route at one point to show that off as well. But I'm not going to do that today, because we have a destination. So I'm just going to show you on the mini-map here where exactly we are at this point, as long as I'm not gaining speed. I think I seem to be steady, so I'm going to center on where I am. We're coming up on that next station right now. That is Norbury, as I was saying. So let's come into Norbury. I'm maintaining speed nicely on a 20% throttle. I'm happy about this. These people are not going to see our train, unfortunately. But they know this. They don't have tickets for it. They can't get tickets for it. That is a speed limit change down to, I believe that's 60 ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the brakes just to get down a little bit, and then I'm going to let it coast. If I need to hit the brakes again, I will do so, but we're maintaining speed very nicely on this downhill, so I am going to actually have to hit the brakes again. There's no way around that one, it looks like. I'm going to coast for now. Because we're not speeding yet. And I actually was able to coast down as we got to Stratham Common. That was just Stratham Common that we went through right now. So now we're going to hit 60 exactly, which is perfect because we're just under it now as we cross into the 60. So I can now maintain speed at 60. Our line merges. I don't have on hand with me right now where that track comes from, but that is another track that leaves this area and hits a buffer for us if we go along it, and that counts as an accident, even though in real life I'm sure it continues. So on this path that we're continuing on, we're going to make a left turn into Balham Station. Balham Station. Balham. If we were to go to the right, which we cannot do here, but if we were to go to the right, you would find Stratham Hill. This trajectory that we're on does not service Stratham Hill. So again, when we're on South London Network and we're coming, say, from Norwood Junction, we can service Stratham Hill from there, but we're not going to service it from the way that we're going right now. Stratham Hill in this DLC is only going to be accessible from London Bridge or anywhere before that point, before Stratham Hill. And it'll also be a very, very short train drive of about 5 minutes. So, yeah. It's too bad that Stratham Hill didn't just continue because it meets the one from Stratham, the same track, and into South London Network, and then they could have gone to another stop beyond there. It would have actually given more scenario options, I think. But we at least get to visit it. So this is Balham right here. And as you see, the way that we come into Balham, we have to come in that particular way. Wandsworth Common is the next station. After that, we will be at our destination at Clapham Junction, our next stop, rather, not our destination. When did that happen? When did I gain that much speed? Well, another 6 points lost. I should still get my medal, but as long as they're just minor losses, I'm fine with it. I can still do well with that. Not every scenario is going to be perfect. I've already said that in a previous video. Actually, no, the next station, yeah, that was Wandsworth Common we just passed. So now Clapham Junction is the next station. And there are a lot of stations at Clapham Junction, a lot of platforms rather. So I'm going to take a tour of the station while we're doing that, not worry about giving you a train view on the way out, just take a look at all the platforms at Clapham Junction. Because last time we were here it was nighttime and we couldn't see much. Today it's daytime and we're going to get to see a lot more of it. So I'm going to show you a lot more of it today. Let's hit the brakes a little bit right now. And the reason I'm okay hitting the brakes now, notice our arrival time is 2 minutes, well, a minute from now, because we're crossing into that right now. So I can coast in, I'm still going to have plenty of time. I do want to give myself a buffer for the London, London Victoria stop. I want to give myself a little buffer, but at the same time, we can't leave until we're scheduled to leave anyway, so taking this full minute to come to a stop is indeed okay. In fact, I'm coming a little too slow, so I'm going to put some throttle back on. I'm too slow at this point. Let's move my position back down a little bit here. 40 should be plenty. $7:12 is our exit time. And now I will put the brakes back on. Passengers should be alerted to the stop right now. You may have heard that little beep beep before the big one that we heard. So they've now been alerted. And I have a lot of platform left, so I'm going to actually put a little speed on to move up a little further. And now I'll come to a stop around the 12 car sign. Right there. Perfect. Open the doors. And like I said, we're going to hop out of the train and take a look around Clapham Junction. Front car's open this time. Back cars didn't, as usual. But let's take a look around. I'm going to zoom out and take a look. Look at all the traffic here. There's some trains over on that side over here as well. Or platforms, rather. Some platforms over there. They're kind of weird on the map view right now. Those go towards that direction. I think that's a buffer over there for us. So we don't do anything with that. It ends at trees. So a lot of things here. We got our time in this bonus. We're going to get back in the cab. So we're leaving Clapham Junction. Our final stop is London Victoria. That is the terminus of the line. There is a 45 ahead, so while 60 is our speed limit coming out of London Victoria, I'm not going to increase to 60 rather. I'm going to stop at 45 because by the time we actually get to 45, we're going to be hitting that limit. Well, actually not quite. We're going to have a little bit of a leeway here. But I'm going to cut it off at 45 anyway because there's no point going past. We're literally 0.2 of a mile away from the limit as we hit the limit. So there's no point increasing. I'm just going to stay at 45. And hope that the timing of the scenario does not require you to be on time by pushing the limit before the 45. I'm going to hope that's not the case. But this is one of the earlier routes, and I'm sure that that is probably not the case. I find the US routes tend to have more timings with them that are not accurate. So, not sure why that is. Probably because they're not from the US. Dovetail Games is not from the US, so that actually makes sense that they wouldn't have all the information of how timings are in the US. Because if you saw my Sherman Hill playing, you may have noticed that the Laramie time was 12:14 on the Midnight Magnet scenario, and I didn't arrive until 12:20 on my best plane. So, now as I record this, I may have re-recorded that. You may be seeing a different video from the one I'm talking about. I may re-record it with some edits, in which case I will edit the times to be more reasonable, and we'll replay it under those edited times. So I'm not sure at this point which video you're going to see, if you're going to see my best plane currently or a future plane that I have not yet done. So my score right now is 869. That's not going to give me a perfect score because I did have 3 speeding penalties. The cops somehow found me speeding a couple times here when I shouldn't have been. I still don't know how I was speeding, but don't know how I got the speed to get up there that quickly. A 40 is coming up, and I didn't really adjust the speed back to 45, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave the speed where it is. Now the AWS speed, because I had a double yellow up ahead, it is now changed to a green proceed aspect. I will continue at line speed. But we are coming up to London Victoria in 2 signals from now, so the next one will be yellow. I'm about to speed. Let's not do that. Thank you. So it's alerting to the double yellow ahead. This one's always going to be double yellow or red. It's either going to be yellow or red at this point. The next signal, we're going to drop to the 20 speed limit here before I talk about the next signal. So I'm going to hit the brakes here to get our speed down. I may not make it down in time. Oh, I will. Plenty of time. That's an alert to the single yellow signal ahead. Again, the signal ahead is either going to be a single yellow or a red 100% of the time. In fact, I do need to hit the speed back down. There we go. At this point, it's going to be downhill all the way, and at this slow speed limit, this train is going to try to keep going. We're being directed to platform 18, which, if you look at our itinerary, it does say platform 18. So at this point, this is a good point where speed set being on would help you maintain the 20. But when you come into the platform, you want to probably slow down anyway, because you're going to need to be something around, I think, 12 in order to not blow, in order for the AWS system to try not to blow you past the platform, to think you're blowing past the platform. So when I get up to the platform, I'm probably going to come in going around 10, because I know the buffer is ahead. Now, if we were to go outside right now, yeah, notice I'm about to go under that little thing there, so I'm not going to have a good view from outside at that point. So let's just do it this way. I'm around 12, which I think is the limit for the any triggers anyway, so we're good. Let's hop back in the cab as we come to a stop. So at this point, we're just coasting in the station. Nothing else to really do here. Our arrival time was a 7:17 departure, 7:18. We are going to get the full 111 points for this stop, for certain. So there's no problem with being on time for this scenario. The only thing is you have to make sure you don't speed along the way. You have plenty of time for some of these stops. A couple of them are a little bit tighter, as you may have noticed, but you can make this scenario fully with all the timing. So this scenario, as far as I'm concerned, is a perfectly set up scenario. The only possible exception I would say would be Clapham or East. Croydon could get a minute more, but at the same time, you're going to have. I got the points for it anyway, so it's not a big deal. Let's put the brakes on a little bit. I'm going to keep going a little bit more. I just want to slow down so I didn't come to a complete stop, or that I didn't risk crashing into it, rather. Coming up on the buffer, I will now slow down. I don't want to hit the buffer, so leaving myself plenty of time, plenty of room. That'll do. Doors are open. Let's take one more look outside the train. Inside London Victoria Terminus. And let's go to the end of the train, where all the doors are actually open this time. All the doors are actually open. Yeah, this platform is super long, so if you didn't, and you can see the signal change to say that that track's now clear for us. If we were to leave, but we're not leaving. We're staying here. If we were continuing, we would set up to the other cab. We would go back in the other direction from that cab. You have successfully completed the journey between Brighton and London Victoria. Well done. And that was 111 points. So you cannot get 1,000 points in this scenario either. We now know. You cannot get 1,000 points in this scenario. So if you can do that scenario, you're good for the rest of this pack. Because that's a long scenario. That's the longest scenario in the pack, I believe. There might be one more like that. So I get my gold star for 980 experience points. As you can see, I only have one person who has played the scenario other than me on my friends list, 981. And we're going to find cheaters on the global who are 1,000. Oh, a few at 980, that's me. There's the cheaters. There are your cheaters, ladies and gentlemen. If you see them, they're editing scenarios and probably not putting the right amount of points on. But anyway, we're at the end of Capital Commuter. Next time, we're going to play the next scenario in the pack, which I'm going to try and get in very quickly before we cut here. The next scenario is going to be, and this is something I could have done while I was coming into the station. Now I know this. City Express. City Express is our next scenario. I'll see you for City Express. Until then, if you like what you saw, like, subscribe to the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And I will see you next time here on Let's Play Train Simulator. I'm Cyclone. See you next time. Bye-bye.